तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome all of you all for today's session. So today's session is called Does God Exist? So, a quick recap of what we did yesterday. Yesterday's topic was search for happiness. Right? So we saw the common things between humans and animals. Anyone remembers? Yeah, Mataji will tell. Yes, Mataji, you remember?
We remember. You told about dogs and cats.
Yeah. But you remember something? The common things between humans and animals? 4 things we discussed. Can recollect? No. Okay, ठीक है. Yes. Sleeping. Eating. Mating. Defending. Okay. Ahar, Nidra, Bhay, Maitunam. Very good. And we saw differences between humans and animals. Anyone? आपको याद है? ABCD देखा.
Human can think.
Yeah.
But animals, they can't think. They can't.
Yeah, वो सब है. But we saw that animals also do think and they also do reason. We saw some specific 4 differences. The clue is ABCD. What does A stand for?
Ability of higher.
Ability for higher inquiry. We saw this, right? So human beings can think, but we can think about deeper questions in life which animals cannot think. ठीक है? We saw the story of Gautam Buddha like that. B stands for bliss. We can experience higher levels of bliss. C stands for choice. We can make choices, animals can't. And D stands for determination. Human beings have determination, animals don't have any sense of determination. Okay. So then we saw that if you want to be happy, in life, we have to solve problems. If we solve certain problems, we achieve happiness. So we saw that if we solve, we came to these 2 terms called relative problems and real problems, right? So relative problem is, what is a relative problem? Anyone remembers?
Relative something depends upon.
Yeah, we saw a few things. A relative problem means it's dependent on something, or it's not a problem for everyone, right? So we gave the example of the dentist and the guy who has toothache and all that. So when you solve a relative problem, what kind of happiness you get? Relative happiness, right? Temporary happiness. So if you want real happiness, we have to solve real problems. So we spend some time discussing relative problems and real problems. So what are the real problems that we named? What are the real problems of life? Birth, old age, disease, death. And then we saw Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik, Adhidevik Klesh. Miseries caused by one's own body, mind, miseries caused by other living entities, miseries caused by natural disturbances. So these are the real problems that we all have to go through. And this human form of life is meant to find answers to these existential questions and solve these problems. Right? And then we came to the discussion of how to achieve real happiness. So we saw that definitely material advancement is progressing. There are so many achievements, but material advancement can't say that we have eradicated all diseases forever. We have solved death. They don't have solutions to this, right? So we saw that the only way in which we can give us a sense of the sense of bliss, because has to come from something deep within the nature of the soul. Material pleasures, any amount of material advancement can give you pleasures for the senses, can give you comforts for the senses and the mind, titillation for the mind. It can't touch your soul. So the only thing that can deeply touch your soul is something spiritual. And that's why we came to the permanent solution part, and we ended the discussion saying that the only way as Atma, as spirit souls, we can be happy is when we make that connection with God. That is like water for us. Just like for fish, water is important. So similarly for us, the water is the connection with God. So once that connection is there and we are in an environment where that connection is there, then we truly experience happiness in life. Like in scriptures, you have many examples of great personalities. In Ramayana, you have the example of Ravan. You heard the story of Ramayana? Ravan was living in an island of gold. Right? He had everything in his life, but he was not happy. He was not at all happy because he didn't have God with him. He was not a devotee, right? He was a complete materialist. And you have examples of great devotees in the scriptures like Sudama. You'll have heard the story of Sudama, the best friend of Krishna. Very poor family, but he was very satisfied, very happy. So happiness is not in relation to the things that we have, right? These may give us some sense of comfort, may be needed, but happiness is not connected to these things. Happiness has to come from something deeper within, and that is the spiritual connection with God. So this is how we ended yesterday's discussion. So now we are going in today's topic, does God exist? So we are going to see 5 subtopics on this. First, proof of the existence of God. Second, the definition of God. Third, how to see God. Fourth, how to acquire knowledge about God. And fifth, why to put faith in scriptures. Okay, so as we are discussing, definitely if you all have questions, you all can make a mental note or note it in your mobiles, whatever. By the end of today's session, the 3 sessions that we did, I'll put the course notes in the group. So you all don't have to worry, the bullet points will be there. So the whole, whatever we have discussed, everything will be there in point form for you all. So you all don't have to worry about that. Okay? So can we get into today's discussion? Does God exist? How many of you all believe that God really exists? Good. We are a good group. One time, a sadhu came to a village, and the sadhu asked the villagers, how many of you all believe in God? Because the villagers called a sadhu for a satsang. Right? Previously in India, entertainment would be connected with enlightenment. Previously in the land of India, the way entertainments would be was, they would call saintly people and they would have katha on Lord Ram, Ramayana, Mahabharata, dramas on Mahabharata, Ramayana, like this. This is the way Indian people would be happy, right? And something interesting about these books is, you can hear Ramayana, Mahabharata, the same story, hundreds and hundreds of times, and you'll not get bored. You'll never get bored. But in this world, one movie you see it 10 times, you'll get frustrated the 11th time. You can't see it. So these scriptures are completely on a different level. So the villagers told the sadhu, please come and enlighten us. So the sadhu asked all the villagers at the start only, how many of you all believe in God? Everyone raised their hands. So the sadhu said, if all of you all believe in God, then I don't have any role here. And he walked away. So the villagers said, Arey, we didn't get satsang. They called the sadhu again. So they asked the sadhu again. So the sadhu came and he asked the villagers again, how many of you all believe in God? This time no one raised their hands. So sadhu said, if all of you all are atheists, I don't want to associate with you all. And he went away. So the third time the villagers called the sadhu. And the sadhu asked again, how many of you all believe in God? So this time they had done some match fixing. Half of them raised their hands, half didn't raise. So the sadhu told them, those who believe in God, convince the others, and he went away. I'll not do that. So basically, many times, the lesson behind the story is that many times this question, how many of you all believe in God, depends on the situation. Sometimes we have full faith, sometimes we have no faith. In some situations our faith is like 50-50. So we are not very sure. So today we are going to discuss a little deeper on this topic of what does God actually exist. So those who believe in God, okay, all of you all raised your hands. Why do you believe in God? We'll give you answers also later. But any thoughts? Why do you believe in God?
There is a superpower,
There's a superpower.
I believe there is
Okay.
somebody,
Yeah.
guidance in the universe. There is
I believe
superpower.
that
Okay.
God,
Yeah.
God ने हमें बनाया, God है क्योंकि उसने हमें बनाया, उसके वजह से हम लोग इधर
Okay. God has made us.
Creator.
Yes, sir.
Creator.
Because things many times
Create.
happen which can't be explained in the normal logical way as we know it.
Got it. Got it.
Reduce stress.
Basically,
To reduce stress, if you have faith in something else, your stress reduces. That he's doing it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I think
Good.
at least in my case,
Yeah.
you see parents praying, so you start praying as a child.
Very good. Thank you for that.
With time, maybe your faith develops because you see things around you which confirms the presence of God.
Got it. So what she made a very nice point. She said that initially as children we just do it because our parents tell us go to temple, go to church. But gradually, we also start to understand. Very good. Thank you for that. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
In my journey, I found that when I started looking at the world around me, there's a lot of fascination that this nature is so complex that it is not possible for it to work the way it works unless there's a higher power.
Wow, wonderful.
Look at the human body. It is so complex that any supercomputer cannot run the human body. But today you are breathing and tomorrow you're off. We have no clue.
Perfect. Wonderful. I'll be touching on these points. Thank you so much for that. Very good. So, generally, when people say, I believe in God, there are few reasons why they believe in God. One is desire. Like many times it is that, people have certain desires. And people understand that just on our own effort, those desires are not fulfilled. So then you somehow start to believe in God. I studied from engineering college, Goa College of Engineering, Pharmagudi. Engineering students are very cool and they are not religious at all. They don't like to be religious, youngsters. So you will not have any engineering students who go to temples, very rarely seen. But the irony is, the amazing part is, during exams, all the engineering students go to the Ganesh temple down. Because all the students know their effort is not enough. And the best part is the people, the priests know exactly when the semester exams are coming. Know that the business is going to come and they keep coconuts ready. So many times you have a desire and you can't fulfill the desire on your own. So you feel that, arey, whoever that higher power is, let us try to satisfy. And as someone, it's many times because of the society that we live in, especially in the land of India, it's quite a society, you start to believe in God. Sometimes it's fear of the unknown. You're not sure whether God exists, but you don't want to take a chance. Like one of our devotees, his friend was an atheist. And he basically, he set up a clinic, dental clinic of his, and he did a puja. So this devotee was thinking, Arey, you are an atheist. What is this puja for? He said, see, my logic is simple. I have spent lakhs of rupees in this clinic. If there is a God, 1,000 rupees puja, let us satisfy him. Who will take a chance? है कि नहीं? कौन पंगा लेगा? बस let it go. So it's fear of the unknown. You're not sure, but then you just don't want to take a chance. And then many times it's just tradition. It's coming down from generations to generations. We just do it. And those who don't believe in God, have you all ever come across atheists who say that I don't believe in God? Can you think about what reasons they give why they don't believe in God? Why do people don't believe in God? Yeah.
I mean, I've had this discussion across the world.
Okay.
And the die-hard atheists, the best of them, their reply is, Vijay, in a dark room, when you light the match, the room gets illuminated. It doesn't mean that where the light has not gone, there is no space there. So science has only discovered so much. Tomorrow we'll discover the rest. And day after we'll find out who God is and who's the super. So this is their logic, that man is evolving in its quest for knowledge and things like that. So one day we will find out what, God is. Right now we have only found out about life, embryo, fertilization. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So that's the smartest
Answer.
thing which I have heard.
Anything else? Any other thoughts? Why do people become atheists?
The people that I have come across are mostly troubled souls, and they haven't found answers to their conflicts, and that's when they stop believing in God. God has chosen me to go through this
Yep.
pain,
Why me?
and exactly
Poor me,
they
why
want
me?
to they want to challenge the Creator
Yep.
and unresolved conflicts completely.
Perfect. I fully agree. So there are 3 reasons why people don't believe in God. The first reason that many people give is there is no proof of the existence of God. They'll tell you, show me proofs, we will believe. Second is, you will find many such people telling you, show me God. Who cares? You may say there is God, show me God. If there is a God, let me see him, then I will believe. And the third reason, as she said, was when people see that there is difficulties in this world, there are troubles in this world, they are going through a lot of crisis, they just can't fathom, they just can't understand, if there is a God, why will he create a place where there are so many problems? Yeah, right? So they don't have faith in God. So many people turn atheists when they really go through major crises in life. Right? So these are 3 principal reasons. In today's session, we are going to discuss these 2 points. Proof of the existence of God and can we see God. The third point about why do bad things happen to good people, right? Why do problems actually happen in this world if there is a God who is really loving sitting up there? There's an entire session for it completely, right? So we are going to discuss these 2 points today. So the first thing is proof of the existence of God. So the first proof, all of us have certain urges that we feel. You know what's an urge? Like thirst is an urge. Everyone feels thirsty. So because thirst is an urge, we have an urge of thirst. There is water also to quench that thirst. Right? It's not that there's no water. There's water to quench the thirst. We have an urge to eat. Hunger is an urge. An urge means something that once that urge comes, you have to fulfill it, right? So hunger is an urge, and there is food in nature to satisfy that urge. Similarly, as humans, we have an urge to worship. And this urge is there in everyone. In everyone. You may say, I don't worship God, but then you worship someone. Here is someone doing a arati to Amitabh Bachchan. You definitely worship someone. You may not have a photo of Krishna and Ram in your house, but you have a photo of a Bollywood star, cricket star. He is your idol. You're looking up to him. You're worshipping him. You're adoring him. This sense of worship is there. I come from Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, there are temples of Rajnikant. Jai Lalita. When Rajnikant, the first entry that he makes on the screen, the movie, people break coconuts right there. They do that. People are just crazy. Huh?
They do Abhishekam of the posters.
Yeah, they do. So the sense of worship is there. You may remove God from the picture, but then you can't remove that sense of worship. That urge is there. So the point is, because we have this urge to worship, or definitely there is God to fulfill that urge. Proof number 2. Who was the inventor of Graham Bell? Who invented diesel engine?
Diesel.
Rudolph Diesel.
Rudolph Diesel.
Mr. Diesel.
Diesel? It says James Watt. Okay, might be Rudolph Diesel. I don't know.
I think the steam engine was invented by James Watt.
And the diesel was Rudolph
Rudolph
Diesel.
Diesel invented the diesel engine.
Okay, I take your answer. Who invented the telescope? Galileo. Okay. Who invented the bulb?
Thomas Edison.
Edison. Okay. Now the question is, can any of these things come automatically? What do you all think?
Oh, you mean without being invented?
Exactly.
No.
Is it possible? Is it possible that any of these things has come automatically? Has a chapati come out automatically? Impossible. Impossible. And the more complex a thing is, as Sir said, the more complex a thing is, it's impossible that it can come out automatically. It's completely unscientific. It cannot come. One time, Newton, he had made a model of the universe. You know, in schools, you know, children do this. They make this model, sun and the planets, and there's a crank, planets revolve. So he did that. So one friend of his who was an atheist, he came and he saw this model and he said, Newton, who made this? Newton said, you know, it just came up like that. You know, all these parts were in the cupboard. I got up in the morning and suddenly this model was there. So this friend said, how is it possible? I mean, such a wonderful model with crank and everything, how it can come just like that? Newton said, you believe that this entire universe has come out automatically, and you're not ready to believe that this small model of the universe can come automatically. Right? It's completely, you know, unscientific that someone just claims that this whole universe, which is so complex, your mind will blow off to understand how complex it is. And we just say that this whole thing has just come up automatically. So the second proof is, creation implies a creator. What does the word imply mean? Imply means, any thoughts? What does imply? Imply means you might have not seen. Have we seen Edison make the bulb? No, we have not seen. You might have not seen the creator of that, just like this mobile. Have we seen who made this mobile? None of us have seen. But it's implied that because this mobile is so complex, some brain has made it. It's simple. Understanding? So, you don't have to see God. Just the point that this creation is so wonderful, so complex and working. It's not a dead creation, it's a working creation. That means a creator is implied. It's understood. It's logical, it's scientific. In our school, we have heard this Big Bang. I mean, we have all got an education in this Big Bang. So Big Bang theory basically means that everything started from one single explosion. Right? One explosion, and then the whole creation starts. And the way Big Bang is explained is, this is the definition of Big Bang theory. And theory basically means it's a proposal, not proof. So either way, you may say God is a theory. Okay, God is a theory. There are certain proofs of it, but you may say still I don't believe it. Big Bang is also a theory. When the Big Bang happened, was any scientist there present? No one was there, no? So it's just an hypothesis anyway. So the faith anyway is in question. You have to invest faith anyway, you know, either in the scientists or in the scriptures. So the Big Bang theory listen to this. According to Big Bang theory, everything began from a point of infinite temperature, infinite density. Temperature is infinite, density is infinite, but the point is infinitesimal. And someone may say, what is this point? Can you explain? The scientists have an answer to that. They say that this point is physically unrealizable, mathematically indescribable, beyond all conceptions of space and time. So that means they have used words in such a way, you don't ask a question. Just accept. That's it. This is what the Big Bang theory creation or the theory is explained by the scientists. Right. So this is what the Big Bang is. Actually, I had some clips on it right now, but these clips will not play here to show how this Big Bang theory is not the ideal way in which the creation should be explained. So, have you ever found after an explosion creation happening? After an explosion,
No.
is it logical that there can be a creation? Imagine cement and bricks and everything together, and you put a dynamite and blow it, and you say a building has come. How is it possible? Whenever there's a destruction, whenever there's an explosion, there is massive destruction. It is completely illogical that there can be a creation after an explosion. So creation means there has to be a creator. This is a rose. A rose has color, the rose has texture, the rose has fragrance. Our Devi Mataji is a painter, right? So if someone says this painting, if she has painted a rose, right? And someone comes and asks her, who painted this rose? And she'll say, it just came like that. The color just fell and this rose was, painting came. How is it possible? If a painting of a rose cannot come automatically, if a painting of a rose cannot come automatically, how can a real rose come automatically? And painting is just 2D, the real rose is 3D, it has fragrance, it has so many things. So creation implies a creator. This is proof 2. Okay? We'll take questions and all, we'll have discussions. Okay? Proof 3 is, whenever there are rules or laws, there's a lawmaker who's made it. Just like when you drive a car, when you go to drive a car, what are the rules for driving a car? In different countries it's different, but in India, what are the rules for driving a car? Some basic rules? Seat belt, license, discipline, left hand side drive, all these things, right? Rules. Who has made these rules? Someone has made it, or is it come just like that? Someone has made it. Okay, now when you break a rule, it's a red light and you have gone through. Is there someone who sees that fine is being imposed? One is making a rule and other is seeing that the rule is followed. So there's an entire department or group of people who are seeing that the rules are made and the rules are followed. Similarly, you have train. When you travel in train, what are the rules for traveling in train? Are there rules or no rules? What are the rules?
You have to buy a ticket.
You have to buy a ticket. What else? If yours is first class, only then you can sit in first class. Right? If you have a third class ticket, you can't sit in first class. Right? These are certain rules. One time there was one guy, he didn't have any ticket and he was traveling in a train. And this train was going to Ayodhya. Now Ayodhya is, no one ever spoke of Ayodhya before. No one used to go to Ayodhya before. Now Ayodhya is the place, the spiritual capital of the world coming up now. So this guy was going to Ayodhya. So the TC asked him, where's your ticket? He said, no ticket? I don't know, I have to have a ticket. So the TC told him, now I'll take you to Krishna Janmabhoomi. This fellow wanted to go to Ram Janmabhoomi. The TC told him, I'll take you to Krishna Janmabhoomi. What is Krishna Janma? Where it happened? In a jail. So indirectly this guy is telling you that I'll take you to jail now, right? Ayodhya has become Mathura for you now, come to the jail. So the point is, whenever there is rules, there's someone who's made the rules and someone who's maintaining the rules. This world is filled with laws. Science, basically, we are studying the laws. No scientist has made a law. Newton discovered law of gravity. How did he discover? That apple fell down. Before Newton, were the apples flying on top? Kya? Apples are always falling down. We give credit to Newton for discovering the law of gravity, but we don't give credit to one who's made the law of gravity. Did Newton make the law? He didn't make the law. Science is basically studying laws. Whether it is electrical engineering, electronic engineering, whether it is thermodynamics, physics, chemistry, whatever, it's all laws. It's all laws, right? So law implies a lawmaker. Like in physics, you have physical laws, optics, na? Like there's an entire department, how the eye functions, refraction, refraction, we have seen all these things in science, right? So we are just learning the laws, but none of us have made the laws. No one has made laws. Laws of mechanics. You can calculate the force in which the ball is kicked, the direction in which it's kicked, you add gravity, air resistance, you can exactly calculate where the ball is going to land. So we are just we are calculating equations, but these are certain laws that are already there. And every department is like that, whether it is thermodynamics or any particular department, right? N number of departments of science, everything revolves around laws which are already existing from the microscopic till the macroscopic level. How an electron functions, how a neutron functions, these are fixed laws. What will happen if you pull an electron? What will happen if you add an electron? Everything is fixed, right? So these are laws in nature. So just like a traffic police, he controls so many vehicles perfectly, right? See that the vehicles don't crash and other things. Just see the amount of management that is happening in the universal level. So many planets floating. Has it ever happened that there's a clash between planets? Has it ever happened that the Earth has gone, even if the Earth goes 1 inch closer to the sun, the whole Earth is going to burn. 1 inch away, the whole Earth is going to freeze. How can you maintain anything so perfectly? So laws implies a lawmaker. Fourth proof, organization and order implies an organizer. Just like you go to a program, everything is well organized, right? You go, the program starts on time, the flow of the program is perfect, it ends on time, everything is like perfect. So what will you come back saying? It was a well organized program. Whoever the organizer was, he did a great job. So the point is, none of us have seen the organizer. The organizer is somewhere behind the screen. But someone has put his intelligence to see that the whole thing is in order. There is organization, right? So that means there is an intelligent organizer who is doing it. This world is not chaotic. The world is organized. The universe, the nature is organized. A bulb, to make a bulb, there's a factory that makes bulbs, right? Now, you may get the bulb and put it in your house. To see that electricity reaches that bulb, there is another whole department, the electricity department, working round the clock so that electricity reaches that bulb. You may not see those people, but there are people working round the clock to see that it happens, right? So now for making one bulb and bringing electricity there, there's so much brain involved. What about this bulb? What about this bulb? Never ever in the history, one day this bulb has gone off or the power has gone down. Always there, every day, right? It may happen that during rainy season, you'll find a small note in the paper that today electricity will be shut down. Maintenance. Have you ever found one news coming the sun has said that today, one day na, I need to repair myself. One day, no sun. Adjust. Has it ever happened? Never ever happened. Water, speaking about water, you turn the tap and there's water, right? Many times we don't realize the value of the effort that goes beyond for it. We just take things for granted. Like for children, they take so many things for granted. They feel that everything is just available. But there's so much effort that goes to see that there's water. One day there's no water, you start to scream at people, why is this wrong? But to get the water there's an entire department that's working around the clock, a PW department. Now, think we have all learned this in science, but think about it in this way. Look at the amazing water cycle in this universe. Water in the ocean is salty. Why is it salty? Any thoughts? Why is the ocean water salty? Because salt is a preservative. Salt is a preservative. Because of the salt, the life in the ocean is fresh, alive. Because salt is there, it's fresh and alive, it doesn't decompose. But we can't drink salty water. So the sun evaporates the water, leaving the salt away. The fresh water is evaporated and clouds are formed. Cloud is like a water tanker. And how does this water tanker flow? Just the wind takes these clouds. And the cloud is not that it has 1-2 drops of water. They are like quadrillions liters of water the cloud has. And the wind just takes it through. And the amazing part is, even if an aeroplane passes through the cloud, there is no leakage. Isn't it amazing? We have all traveled in flights. Aeroplane passes through, there is no leakage, it just seals. And then this cloud takes that ocean water, takes it to the land and then rains it. And we get fresh water. Isn't it? I think it is Einstein who said there are only 2 ways you can see this world. One, you can see miracles everywhere, or you can see miracles nowhere. Just look around in nature, there's so much miracles, there's so much to appreciate. Citric acid, there's a lot of endeavor to make the citric acid, a packet of it. Citric acid is freely available in nature in the form of lime. Fruity, all of us had fruity. Children really love fruity. But fruity is just okay, but not as good as the real one. Right? However good it may be, it's no match for the real one. To make a fruity, to see that the fruity is delivered in the shop next to you, there's so much organization behind it. But the actual mangoes which come out every season, do you think it's just coming just like that? So organization implies an organizer. That was the 4th proof. The 5th proof is design implies an intelligent designer. As Vijay sir has explained, every part of our human body is designed to perfection. Is designed to perfection. If you study each one part, we'll be blown how much complexity is there in these designs. One DNA molecule, the scientists explain, the amount of coding that Microsoft has ever done, they can't match the coding that's there in one DNA molecule. And our body has like millions of DNA molecules. There's so much coding that is there behind it. So design implies a designer. You look around in nature, have you ever seen a spider web? Perfect web. See, to make something, you take measurements now. Yeah. I mean, the spider, it's making the web. It has no idea what it is making. The web is perfect each time. Each time. Which engineering college the spider has gone to? No engineering college. The perfect web it can make. In fact, I don't have these videos right now. There's one spider in the jungles of Africa. It makes such a web so strong that even a bullet can't pass through. And now people are using that to make bulletproof jackets. The technology of the spider. Right. There's one particular fish at the bottom of the ocean. It makes certain designs in the bottom of the ocean. If you look at top now, it looks like a Sudarshan Chakra, like a chakra view. One after another, perfect designs. So design implies an intelligent designer. The giraffe is perfectly designed to do what it's doing. The camel is perfectly designed for it. Right? So every way we can see designs. Everything is designed to perfection. So that means definitely there is a designer who has designed it. So we saw 5 proofs of the existence of God. First, fulfillment of urges in nature. We have an urge to worship, so definitely there is God to fulfill that urge. Second is, whenever there is creation, a creation is implied. Creator is implied, even though we may not be able to see him. Whenever there are laws, rules, there is a lawmaker. And whenever there is an organization, order, there is a brain that has organized it. And whenever there is design, there is a designer. So the question is, big bang, yeah, big brain. You all can think about it. So these are certain proofs of the existence of God. And if you look around, you find so many things. I mean, n number of examples for each of this. We just gave you just few of them. Any thoughts before we go ahead? Is it okay? Can we go ahead? We can always take questions at any point. So now, someone may say, all this is okay, but can you show me God? Only if you show me God, I will believe in him. But there is something called the theory of cause and effect, where you accept that there is a cause even though you can't see it, only by seeing the effect. I gave this example. Electricity, no one can see. No one can see electricity. No one has ever seen electricity. But we know that there is electricity because of the effect of it. You can't see electricity, but you can see the effect of electricity. The fan is running, the light is on. That means there is something that's powering that, even though I can't see it. So this is called the theory of cause and effect. Just by the effect, the cause is inferred. Similarly, when you see a puppet show, a child may feel, "Arey, puppets are real." Child doesn't understand anything. But any adult will know, "Arey, what will the puppet do?" There's someone who is moving those puppets. That hand is not seen, but there is a master hand that is moving the puppets. So that's the effect, that's the cause, and the effect is the puppet moving. So in this world, if anything is moving, that means if anything is working, the sun is coming up every day, setting on time, seasons are moving, everything is like perfectly organized. That means there is a cause, even though we may not be able to see it. If you see an arrow that has hit a bullseye, it's understood that someone has shot the arrow. Otherwise, how will the arrow just come like that? Someone has shot it. So similarly, in this universe, all the proofs that we saw clearly shows that these are the effects of God. There is organization, there is design, everything is perfect, there is creation. That means there is a cause, even though I can't see the cause. We discussed this point that there are so many things in this world we don't see yet believe. We don't see the mind, we believe the mind. We don't see intelligence, we believe the intelligence. There are so many things that we don't see yet believe, because we can see the effect of it. So similarly, God can be realized through this theory of cause and effect. So if anyone wants to see, suppose someone says that I want to see the Prime Minister of India, right? So if you want to see the Prime Minister of India, you have to work, or you have to do your actions in such a way that you actually get an appointment with him. So now if I say, I'll count 100. Before the countdown ends, if Narendra Modi ji exists, he has to come here. Otherwise, there is no one called Narendra Modi. And I start the countdown, 100, 99, the countdown goes, 7, 6, 5, 1, 0. So, conclusion is, does it sound intelligent? It's absolutely foolish. Modi come, you have to act in such a way that you actually get an audience with him. Similarly, why I'm giving this example is, in the West, in US, there was one guy who would make mass convert people into atheists. He would come on a stage and he would do these countdowns. And he would say, if there is a God, he has to appear on the stage. I mean, why will God come in front of you? You have to qualify yourself. So in order to see God, we need to have certain qualifications. Only when we qualify ourselves, we can actually see God. So till now we discussed point 1 and point 3, proof of the existence of God and how to see God. Now we'll go to the second point, the definition of God. At any point, if you all have any questions, you all can just raise your hands, we can have a discussion. Okay? Can we go ahead? So now we are coming to the definition of God. Some people may say God is light. God is just light. Yeah, but it's still not like a very clear definition of God. What light, not very clear. Someone may say God is nature. Many people have this understanding God is nature. Definitely, God is nature. But generally, nature is, in Sanskrit, nature is translated as Prakriti. That's nature, Prakriti, right? And generally, nature is connoted as feminine, Mother Nature, Mother Earth, Mother Nature. So if nature is the mother, if nature is the Prakriti, there has to be a Purusha, there has to be a father also. That father is actually God. Some may say, you are God. There's a group of people like this also. There's a level of spirituality like this also. They say, you are God. Everyone is God. We have just forgotten we are God. Right? Om Namo Narayanaya. They wish each other as Narayan. They feel that we are just God. But this itself is not the perfect understanding. We can't be God. We gave you this example when we discussed the topic of Atma. God is infinite. We are infinitesimal. We are the drop of the ocean and He is the ocean. We can be one with Him in terms of quality, but not in terms of quantity. Some may say God is dead. What is the definition of God? God is dead. There was actually one guy called Nietzsche. Heard of Nietzsche? Friedrich Nietzsche?
Yeah.
Friedrich Nietzsche. He became an atheist. So he went and wrote in the churches, the wall of all the churches, God is dead. And he signed it Nietzsche. After a few years, Nietzsche died. So the church people interchanged names. Nietzsche is dead. Sign God. So many people may come and say, God is dead, this, that. But God continues, right? So therefore, in one sense, our dharma, the dharma of the land of India is called Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is something which is eternal. Someone may come and destroy a temple and do this, do that. But God can never be dead. He's there forever because He's the ultimate truth. One time there was one man, he was sitting and meditating. Hey Ma, he was meditating on that eternal mother, Durga Devi. And his son was sitting next to him also meditating. Hey Ma. And he was thinking about Hema Malini. Both are chanting Hema, but their definitions are different. So the point is, many times people speak about God, but everyone may have something else in mind. So today we are going to discuss two very precise definitions of who God is. Definition 1. God is the supreme source, the supreme proprietor, the supreme controller, and the supreme enjoyer. These two definitions are the most precise definitions of God that come in the scriptures. It can't be anything more precise than this. So definition 1 is, He is the supreme source, supreme proprietor, supreme controller, and supreme enjoyer. What does supreme source mean? See, we all have come from our Father. Our Father has come from His Father. Our grandfather has come from his father. So when you keep tracing and you reach a person who has no other source, you have hit God. Understanding? This is what it means, the supreme source. Okay? This part 1 of definition 1. Second is the supreme proprietor. Proprietor means owner. We may say that we are actually not owners. We are owners. Owner means you should own it, but we don't own it forever. Agree? Before Columbus discovered America, was America there or not? We give credit to Columbus, but did he make America? If someone goes and puts their flag and says this is mine, this is yours, it really doesn't work like that, right? So we are not proprietors, we are just caretakers. When Alexander, he conquered so much, but when he was about to die, he told his ministers, bury me with both my hands open. I want to show the world that I conquered so much, but I'm going back empty hand, carrying nothing. So we are not proprietors. The only proprietor is God. Everything belongs to Him. One time, there's this story of Akbar Birbal. So Akbar was becoming very proud. He was feeling that I'm great. So Birbal told him, yes, you are great. You are greater than Allah. So Akbar couldn't take it. For a Muslim to tell this is like a big insult. So Akbar told, you prove it, otherwise I'm going to kill you now. So Birbal said simple, you can throw someone out of your kingdom, God cannot. Because everything is the kingdom of God. So then Akbar got it. Like, I think I'm great, but what I own is very less. God owns everything. The third part of definition 1 is He's the supreme controller. How many of us feel that we are controllers? Actually, yeah, that's an illusion, but we are not controllers. Can we control the digestion in our stomach? Absolutely no. We have no clue of what happens. No idea. Can we control the thought that is going to come in our mind next? No control. No idea what the thought is going to come next. We have absolutely no control. We just feel we do have some control, little control. We are all little Ishwars, but we are not that Parameshwar. We are not the supreme controller. That one person who controls everything, He is God. He is the supreme controller. And part 4 of definition 1 is He is the supreme enjoyer. We may have a desire to enjoy, but we can't enjoy. In Jagannath Puri, any of you have been to Jagannath Puri? Hello, been? Nice. Good. So in Jagannath Puri, every day Jagannath is fed Chappan Bhog. Chappan Bhog is like 56 items. And sometimes you get the Jagannath Prasad. Now in front of you, there are 56 items. You want to eat everything. How much can you eat? How much can you eat? Capacity is very less. We can't eat. If we overeat, we'll land into disease. Right? So we want to enjoy, but we can't enjoy. Because that prerogative is actually of God. He is the supreme enjoyer. Okay? So this is definition 1 of God. What is definition 1? Can anyone summarize? Supreme source, supreme proprietor, supreme controller, supreme enjoyer. This is the definition 1. Definition 2. In Sanskrit, God is called Bhagavan. In Sanskrit, God is called Bhagavan. So Van means to possess. Just like you say Dhanavan. What does Dhanavan mean? One who has wealth. Dhanavan. Yeah, Gyanavan, one who has Gyana. So Bhagavan, Bhaga means opulences, Aishwarya. So there is a rishi called Parashar Muni. You all have heard of Vyasdev. Vyasdev is the one who has compiled all of Vedic scriptures. The father of Vyasdev was Parashar Muni. So Parashar Muni gave a definition of God in Sanskrit. He says, Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasya shriya Jnana Vairagyaschaiva Sanan Bhaga Itingana. He says, who is this Bhagavan? The one who has the 6 opulences in full. 6 things in full. He is God. What are the 6 opulences? First is Aishwarya, wealth. God matlab, he has to be the wealthiest. No one wealthier than him. Simultaneously, he has to be the strongest. No one stronger than him. See, in this world, you may have someone who has little wealth, but the person who has wealth, he may not be strong. Like you have Mukesh Ambani, wealthy, but I don't know whether he's physically that fit. He may have his own diseases, right? So someone may have wealth, but they may not have strength. God is the one who has all the wealth, wealthiest, simultaneously the most strongest. Third opulence is simultaneously the most beautiful. You may have someone who is very strong, but may not be beautiful. Right? Or you may have someone who is beautiful, may not be wealthy. But God is the strongest, the wealthiest, the most beautiful, and the most knowledgeable. This is Einstein, no? Einstein, intelligent, but does he look very beautiful? Not that much, right? So, and Einstein's knowledge is also very limited. So God is the most wealthiest, the strongest, the most beautiful, simultaneously the most knowledgeable. This is like the fourth quality, the fourth Aishwarya. Simultaneously the most famous, and then the most renounced. Anyone who has, as I told you, you will have someone who has one of this to some extent, not full extent. And the one who has this 1 or 2 Aishwarya will not have the others. Not have the others. The one who has all the 6 at one time in full, that person is God. So we saw 2 definitions of God. Source of all sources and source of all sources matlab supreme source, supreme enjoyer, supreme proprietor, supreme controller. Definition 1. Definition 2 is Bhagavan, one who has 6 opulences: wealth, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, and what is the 5th? What is the 6th one? Strength. I'll send the notes, don't worry. All this in full, he is God. Okay? So till here we have seen 3 parts. Out of the 5 subtopics for today, we have seen 3: proof of existence of God, definition of God, how to see God. Now we are going to come to last 2 parts, which is very important. Every part is important, but the next 2 is also quite important. How do I acquire knowledge about God? Now we saw a definition of God. How do I get to know more about God now? So, there are 3 ways in which one can get knowledge about God or knowledge about anything in this world. Praman means proof. A praman also means a type, basically. Pratyaksha praman, I'll explain all this. Pratyaksha praman, Anuman praman, Shabda praman. So Pratyaksha praman basically means knowledge that you get through your senses. Aksha means eyes. Pratyaksha means direct sense perception. This is called Pratyaksha praman. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, you gain knowledge through that. Through our senses, this is called Pratyaksha praman. So many times people use this as a medium to get knowledge about God. And these are the category of people who will always believe in seeing. When people ask this question, can you show me God? That means they have a lot of faith in their senses, in their eyes. But as we discussed, there are so many things that we see, may not believe. Like we see a concave, convex mirror. Do we believe that that's the size of ours? No. Right? So the problem with understanding God through senses is the following. There are 4 defects of the senses. If I say, I will only believe in a God that I see, that I experience through the senses have 4 defects. The first is called imperfect senses. Second is the senses have a tendency to be illusion. Third is we commit mistakes, and fourth is cheating propensity. Each of our senses has a certain limitation. We have gone through science now. Eyes 400 to 700 millimicron, violet to red. We can't see infrared, ultraviolet, we can't see it. So each of our senses have certain defects. Understanding? So we have defective senses, imperfect senses. So with our imperfect senses, how can we understand that perfect God? It's very difficult. And not only that, our senses have a tendency to be illusion. What you can see in this image? I'll tell it quickly. What do you see in this image? Triangle. But there's no triangle here. There's no triangle here. This is an illusion of the eyes. What do you see in this image?
The two guys are playing music,
Oh.
and of course an old couple.
Old couple, yeah. And the interesting part, there's so many things you can see. You can see one lady coming out of the door, right? You can see one beaker, something like a beaker in between. You can see so many things. And the amazing part is to see either one of them, you have to not see the others.
Correct.
Then only you can see. What do you see here? What do you see here? It's a moving thing, but it's not moving. So these images are only illusions for the eyes. Every sense has an illusion. Just like, if someone is staying close to a railway station, even if the train is not passing, he will hear a hissing sound because he's so used to it, right? So we have a tendency to be illusion. Not only that, we commit mistakes. To err is human. Human being, he will commit mistakes. And scientists are God or human beings? Human beings, na? So they have made n number of mistakes. Couple 100 years ago, scientists were thinking that the earth is flat. When Columbus went on the journey, people were telling him, don't go Baba, you will fall down. It took a long time for them to understand that the earth is round. Understanding? So scientists also have made mistakes. They thought that the brain is an organ to cool blood and all this. Then we have cheating propensity. So because the senses are imperfect, the senses become illusion. We commit mistakes. And then to cover the mistakes, we cheat. There's a cheating propensity there in everyone. We all know in our school we have learned about this Darwin's theory, right? How evolution happened. And always the question was, if according to Darwin, we all came from monkeys. So where is that missing link between a man and a monkey? Where is that species? That species should have been here, that in-between part. So for a long time, scientists were not finding that missing link or those remains of that species. So somewhere in 1912, they found the missing link. And then in 1953, it was discovered that what they found was a fraud. It was something that was just filed. And there are many stories like this. So the point is, just depending on the senses to gain knowledge about God, we may not get our perfect knowledge. The second way of gaining knowledge is called Anuman Praman. Anuman Praman basically is guesswork. Guesswork. And Darwin, Mr. Darwin, Charles Darwin, he has written this book called Origin of Life. And in this entire book, the words that he uses is perhaps, maybe. That means he himself is not sure. If you know the story of Darwin, Darwin actually was a believer in God. He was a member of the church. But he had a young girl who got a disease called Progaris, something like that. This disease where small children develop symptoms of old age. Hair become white, wrinkles, teeth start to fall. And this girl died soon. And this Darwin just couldn't accept the fact that I was a believer in God, I used to go to church, and this is what happened. He turned an atheist overnight. And then he goes to a particular island, and then he sees species, and then he concocts this whole theory of evolution. Fully Anuman Praman. He himself is not sure about it. If there were like 6 blind men who are blind from birth, they have never seen an elephant. Never ever seen an elephant. And they suddenly bump across an elephant. And each of them is touching a different part of the elephant. One guy says, I know what the elephant is. The elephant is like a rope. One guy says, no, the elephant is like an arrow. One guy says, no, the elephant is like a snake. Right? Because they're not seeing the full picture at all. Blind guys, what they can see. Only when someone who has eyes comes to them and tells them, no, elephant is like this. The tail of the elephant is like a rope. The trunk of the elephant is like a snake. Scientists may understand bits and pieces, but they can never get the full picture right. Because we are all so tiny. How can we understand that infinite God? It's beyond our own comprehension. Therefore, the best way of gaining knowledge, I hope I'm not confusing you all, but this part is important. Just try to understand this one part. Right? The best way of gaining knowledge about God is called Shabda Praman. Shabda means word of authority. Right? Like, if someone wants to learn medicine, if someone wants to be a doctor, someone may say, I'll just figure it out on my own. So if someone then comes to you and tells you, I'll give you an injection, and you ask him, Baba, what is your qualification? I figured it out. You will not take a chance. You will go to a doctor who has studied from a proper source. Isn't it? It's as simple as that. So, source matlab shabda, word of authority. So similarly, to understand God, see, if to understand engineering, medicine or anything of this world, we go to a proper college, learn from proper people who have been experienced, studied in that field, then only you get recognized. Now to understand God, can anyone just speculate and just understand? Doesn't make sense. So you have to approach Shabda. And Shabda here means scriptures. Scriptures are that word of God that give us information about God. Okay? So we saw how to acquire knowledge about God. 3 ways. Pratyaksha, Anuman, Shabda. But the best is Shabda Praman. 100% you will not fail. It will be very authoritative, very specific, very clear. So now we'll come to the final and the last very important part. Why to put faith in scriptures? Someone may say scriptures, then you may say, we thought this class is going to be very scientific. Now again you come to this topic of faith. Right? So the point is, just like if a child wants to know who her father is, if the child has never seen the father, the child wants to know who her father is, there are 2 ways to do this. One is the child does genetic testing. Go and do genetic testing of all the males. Right? So it may work, but it may take a long time. It may take years and years by the time you do. And by the time you meet your father, it's already time for the father to leave and go. Right? Easier ways, ask the mother. Ask the mother, have faith in mother's statement. The mother will tell you who the father is. Scriptures are compared to the mother, which tell us, which indicate us who a father is. So faith is an integral part of life. It's not that you need faith only in spiritual life. You need faith in every part of life. I'll give you a few examples. When you go for shaving, like the men, you go and just lie down with the barber and you close your eyes, doze off. Now the barber can shave like this, he can shave like this, he can do anything. You have faith in that guy. When you go for a surgery, to hospital, when you go for a surgery, you have to sign and give that whatever happens here, I am only responsible. The doctor is not responsible. The hospital is not responsible. And you pay money to them. And they put you in coma. And you doze off. What they are going to do, no idea. They could be doing anything. They could be cutting your organ, they could be doing anything. But then if you don't have faith, remain stuck at home. Continue with your disease at home. So without faith, you can't even do a surgery. When we travel, do we ever go and see in the cockpit, where there is a terrorist sitting there? No one checks. Have you ever gone and checked the license of the pilot, the license of the driver? Have you ever done alcohol test of a bus driver, whether this guy is drunk or not? You just have faith. When that 9/11 incident happened, in US, World Trade Center, 1 week late, for 1 week after that, no one traveled in plane. Everyone was fearing whatever terrorist is there. But after 1 week, what happened? Sit at home, you can't do anything else. You can't continue in life. Every walk of life. This building, who knows who has made this building, what material is used. You have to have faith. So similarly, or when you go to a doctor, the doctor gives you medicine. How many of us study that medicine? Well, what exactly goes in this medicine? Do you tell the doctor, tell me first which chemical is secreted, which reacts where, then only I will take. You don't get to do all that. You study his, you see the experience that people have gone through, you see his qualifications, and then you take a medicine. So similarly, just like we invest a little faith in so many things in this world, that much faith, not more, should also be needed in spiritual life. So scriptures are like a mother that tell us who our father is. Scriptures are like an instruction manual. Just like you buy a mobile or any device, you get an instruction manual how to use it. So similarly, with this human form of life, with the creation of this world, the scriptures also that come in place, which tell us why this world is made, why this human form of life is there, like that. In scriptures, historical evidences are proven. Just like, I'll give you a few examples. Cow dung. Cow dung, in the land of Vedic India, cow dung is always considered pure. When the British came here, these guys thought that the Indians are backward. Hey, they're touching dung of an animal. They were thinking that we are forward, these guys are illiterate, we will make them forward. Right? Now, things are changing. All those scientists around the world are accepting that there's nothing more pure, antiseptic, medicinal than cow dung. So that means the villagers of India were more scientific than the scientists now. They were the most scientific. It is said that if you stand below a cow dung, or even a dry cow dung, even for 10-15 minutes, all your toxins on the body will go away. That's how powerful cows are, cow dungs are. These people never understood. But the scriptures have always been saying, gobar. Cow dung and India is like, integral part. You can't have it separated. I gave you the example of the earth. It took just 100 years ago, the scientists accepted that the earth is round. But in our Vedic land of India, earth is always considered round. Geography in Hindi is called Bhugol Shastra. It's understood it's round. We have Varaha Avatar. Varaha Avatar, when he lifted the earth is round. So these scientists, they took them recent years to understand, but in the land of India, everyone knew it. We all knew it. We all knew that the plants have life because the scriptures mention plants of life. Jagdish Chandra Bose, just a couple of years ago, I don't know how many years ago, he discovered that the plants have life. But in the land of India, scriptures are very clear, plants of life. Human embryology, what happens in the womb of a mother. The scientists discovered sonography and all these things, just might be not even 100 years ago, 50-60 years ago, to find out what happens, how the embryo grows. But in Bhagavatam, you have Srimad Bhagavatam, which was written 5000 years ago. There is a chapter which describes day 1, day 2, day 3, what happens to the embryo, how it grows. When this was written? 5000 years ago. And you have predictions in scriptures, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared 500 years ago, is predicted in the scriptures long back in Bhagavatam. Buddha is predicted. Gautam Buddha appeared 2500 years ago, but Gautam Buddha is predicted in the scriptures more than 5000 years ago. Chanakya Pandit is predicted in the scriptures, the appearance of King Ashoka, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, like that. So in essence, faith is needed in every aspect of life. The same amount of faith that we have in so many things in this world, in practical aspects of this world, if we have that much faith in scriptures, then we will understand who God is, who we are, and all these questions about spirituality will get sorted. That's the only way we can understand these topics. So we'll stop at this point. So in today's session, we saw 5 subtopics: proof of existence of God, definition of God, we saw how to see God, we saw the theory of cause and effect, and the only way we can see God is service. The founder Acharya of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, his guru was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he would make a brilliant statement. I mean, this was like a golden, a brilliant statement. He would say, don't try to see God. Please listen to this. He would say, don't try to see God. Try to act in such a way that God wants to see you. Understanding? So many people have this question, I want to see God, that's great. But then if we can act in such a way that God gives us his darshan, then only we can actually understand God. Then we saw ways of acquiring knowledge about God, Pratyaksha Anuman Shabda, Shabda is the breast. And then we saw why to put faith in scriptures. So that's it for today. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any questions, any comments? Yeah. Questions नहीं है मतलब दो ही चीज़ है सब समझ में आया या कुछ समझ में नहीं आया I'm just joking.
I just wanted to share something. I had this question when I was a child. I used to ask my mother, what is God? What is God? And, you know, the same thing which we went through. And I think she gave me something very brilliant which I just like to share. She said, Beta, how do you spell God? So I said, G-O-D. So she said, God is the supreme force that generates, operates, and destroys everything in the universe. And that just stayed with me.
Yeah.
And I have always found that when I think about God, it kind of still holds true for me. You know, that which we cannot explain, which is responsible for generation, operation,
Perfect.
and
Yeah.
human destruction.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. First time I heard.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
To Aarti, if everybody's,
Yeah. We'll do Aarti, and before Aarti, I'll teach people chanting.
you wanted to do the mala.
Mm.